Hello everyone, my name is Hemu. In today's, it's a day two of our AWS training. In today's class, we are going to discuss. So I will go through with the introduction of AWS, history of AWS, how AWS is started, all these things. Then we will go through with the most important thing, which is global infrastructure of AWS, means how AWS have a global presence, where we will discuss what is region, what is availability zones, what is local zones, what is edge location, what is point of presence or pop locations, what is outpost, what is wavelength zone, right? So all these particular topic comes under the global infrastructure. Once this part will complete, I will tell you how we can basically choose a region. We will discuss what is region, then we will, because AWS has multiple regions across the globe, then we have to decide which region we have to choose and why we have to choose, right? So we will see which region we have to choose and what are the parameters we have to consider. Then we will discuss. I'll just give you some very basic overview of AWS services, where we will see what is the AWS global services and what are the AWS region specific service. Then I will, again, once this part will complete, I will move towards the on-prem network. What are the things we have in the on-prem? How the traffic flow in the on-prem network component versus the AWS networking components. I will also explain you the ways to access the AWS resources, means how we can access the AWS resources. What is AWS Management Console, AWS CLI, and AWS SDK, or which includes the API and programs, which is totally like in automation, we will use all these things. Okay. Then I will just give you the basic idea about the AWS networking services, like what is BPC, what is Elastic Load Balancer, Direct Connect, Route 53, CloudFront, AWS WAF, AWS Shield, and AWS Guard Duty. These are the some of the services I have mentioned. I'll just give you the basic overview. In these particular services, we have a lots of sessions. Like let's take an example, Route 53. In Route 50, I needed around 4 classes, which means around 12 hours I need to explain everything in Route 53 along with the practicals. Okay, so don't worry, today I'll just give you the basic idea about it, and once we will basically, when we will move further in this syllabus, we will discuss everything in detail. Okay, like in load balancer, there is a 4 to 5 classes are there for the load balancers. Okay, there are multiple use cases in load balancers. Okay, so these are the topic which I'm going to cover. So now let me start with the AWS cloud integration. Okay, so first of all, before explaining anything, let me just tell you. So guys, if I will write down some of the cloud service providers, some names of the cloud service providers, the very first cloud provider is AWS. Then we have a Microsoft Azure. Then we have a Google Cloud, which is GCP, Google Cloud Platforms. Then we have a IBM. We have a Oracle. We have a Alibaba. And there's a multi like DigitalOcean, Rackspace. There are lots of other vendors are there as well. Okay. Now, this particular AWS company, AWS stand for Amazon Web Services, means this particular cloud is owned and managed by the Amazon. Azure is a cloud which is owned and managed by the Microsoft. GCP is managed by the Google Cloud. Then we have IBM, Oracle, and Alibaba. Now, guys, according to the Gartner report, AWS is the #1 cloud. Means it is the market leader in your cloud service provider. Means there is a lots of customers who is using the AWS, and the best why they are using AWS, because AWS focuses towards the infrastructure as a security, infrastructure as a infrastructure as a security, and this particular Azure, they are basically platform as a service. The business model for Azure is, sorry, it says software as a service. So Azure is more focused towards the SaaS services, and AWS is focusing towards the infrastructure as a service, means IaaS. Okay. So the business model for AWS is infrastructure as a service, means most of the customers, they will choose this AWS because of the infrastructure as a service. Okay. Now, AWS, like Amazon Web Services, is the world most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud platforms. It is offering over 200 fully featured services, means AWS has more than 200 plus services, and you can able to check all these services here. See, we have a long list of the services. Click on all service and you can able to see these are the multiple services which are offered by the AWS environment. Okay, and if you will go into the Google and if you will type AWS Gartner Magic Quadrant 2023 images, let me open this. If you will see this one, this is also not the correct one. Mm, let me just see. I have one of the slide for that. Okay, let me just open it. Give me 1 second. Sorry guys, it is infrastructure as a it is infrastructure as a service, not security. Okay, 1 minute. I'm just opening one PPT. Just give me a second. Okay, so where I have one slide for this Magic Quadrant. Okay, if you will see this particular Magic Quadrant, in this Magic Quadrant, so generally what used to happen, there's a one company called Gartner. What they used to do, they used to done lots of R&D on the services offered by different cloud vendors, right? And according to the output from the different customers, what they used to basically create this particular quadrant, right? So if you will see in the leader section, we have a Amazon at the top. Okay, so AWS has a huge customer base, and after that we have a Microsoft, then we have a Google. So these are the three which are in the leader quadrant. So these are the market leaders. So most of the market share is owned by the AWS, then Microsoft, then Google, and after that we have a Alibaba and Oracle. Then we do have a IBM, Huawei, Tencent Cloud, right? The others one. Okay, so this is the one which I wanted to show you. So why we have picked this AWS? Because AWS is the leader in the cloud service providers domain. So that is the reason we are here to learning the AWS. Okay, now, so generally what AWS has a millions of customers, which includes the fastest growing startups, means, see guys, these cloud environment is very good for the startups organization, and I have explained the in depth, right? What is the main reason why a startups generally use for the, why this startup choose the cloud providers for launching their resources, right? Because they don't need to pay any upfront cost, right? Even though they also have a very big large enterprise customers, leading government agencies. So guys, what AWS has done, AWS has created a dedicated cloud environment for governments actually, where government related things are there. Means let's suppose in USA they have created one government related region where only government people can able to launch their resources. Like you, me, we are not allowed to use these clouds. Okay, these clouds is dedicated for the government only. Using AWS to the lower cost, become more agile and innovate the faster things. Okay, the AWS global infrastructure is the most secure, extensive and reliable cloud platforms, offering over 200 fully featured services from data center globally. Whether you need to deploy our application workload across the globe in a single click, or you wants to build or deploy specific application closer to your end users with the single digit millisecond latency. Means, see what happens basically, AWS has a lots of regions across the globe, right? And they have a very all these regions, they have a connectivity through the very high speed fiber links basically. So you will not face any type of latency. Okay, AWS is a set of cloud computing services. AWS is robust, scalable, and affordable infrastructure for the cloud computing. AWS provide compute, storage, and data services quickly, provisioning the IT needs. Means, let's suppose a company A wants whatever networking infrastructure this company A needed, everything they will found over the AWS environment, because AWS has lots of services. Okay, the main benefit of AWS is it is AWS, the main benefit which is like security. So whatever resources you will deploy over the AWS, they are secure. Availability, because AWS has a global presence. So because these particular resources are highly available, you will get the performance, because they AWS generally uses the high end or the or always the next generation devices or hardware components. So they will have a very good performance. Scalability, you can use the features like auto scaling type of things, so you will get the scalability type of things as well. Flexibility, very easy to use, very user friendly GUI they are having to basically launch your resources, so it's very flexible. Global footprint means they have a availability across the globe. Okay, it's not like that, like they have a presence over just on one country and all, right? So they have a global presence across the globe. Service level agreement, they have a very good SLA. They have a SLA between 99.9% to 100% availability. Means they used to say whatever resources you will deploy over the cloud environment, it is available 99.9%. Okay, Amazon S3 maintains a durability of 99.5 times 9%. Means they have a SLA of very high availability related things. Okay, means their resources is always available. They will give you the 24 by 7 support. Flexible cost optimization, they have a very good pricing model. You can go with the pay as you go model, right? You can also choose the resources on the basis of term based plan. You can purchase like for 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, right? Broadest and deepest platforms, user friendly, highly performant. Means they whatever resources they are having, they have a very high performance and all, right? These are the couple of URLs I have shared here. So you guys just needs to go and you have to just check the information. Okay, because maybe sometime in some of the links you will found more benefits. There are some less benefits, right? But if you know couple of them, which is good, basically, that's it. And if you want to check AWS, this is the link for Gartner, which we have already seen. But let me just open this particular link. So this is the link where you can check AWS at the top. So it's a market leader. Then second is Azure. Then we have a GCP. And guys, GCP is very growing a lot. Okay. I know around 4 years back, AWS has captured around 70% market. Okay. And there was around 20% market is captured by the Azure, and the remaining 10% market is for the other providers like we have a GCP, Alibaba and all. But nowadays, Azure and GCP, they are also growing a lot. Okay. Just remember. Now let's just go through with some history of the AWS. Okay. So Amazon Web Service is a cloud computing platform that was launched by Amazon in 2006. Means AWS started in 2006, guys. Okay. In year 2002, AWS services were launched. Means in 2002, generally they have launched couple of services, and in 2006, officially AWS cloud products were launched, and AWS was officially launched in 2016. Means they've started couple of things in 2002, and finally they have launched their services in 2006. And there is a one more very good link I'm having. Generally, history you don't need to know, but it is good if you know the couple of things here. Okay. So if you will check into this website, you will get the entire detail actually. Like if you will see in 13th March 2006, they have launched their first storage service, which is S3. In 3rd November 2004, they have launched the simple queue service, which is a messaging service. Right in December, 30th December 2007, they have launched the simple database service. They have launched this EBS service in August 2008. And in 2006, they have also launched one more service called EC2. EC2 means this is the main service where we will launch all our virtual machines. Okay. In 2009, they have basically launched the management console. Then EC2 auto scaling they have introduced in 2009. So here long list they are having. So you can able to just check it out this list just for the couple of services, not all of them. And you will get the very good idea about it. Okay. That's how they have started their journey. So you will get the details here till 2021. Now, let me just go here. Benefits we have already seen. So as I have mentioned, in 2002, AWS platform were launched. In 2003, new concept and plan formatted, right? They have created couple of plans. Then in 2004, first AWS service, which is SQS services launched. Then in 2006, they have done the relaunch of the AWS again, and they have started with EC2 service and S3 service. In 2009, virtual private cloud rollout, right? Then in 2012, first AWS customer event. Then 2013, the CIA adopt AWS as a provider. 2016, AWS hits around 10 billions in the revenue. Then 2017, AWS reaches around 100 servers in total. In 2018, contract with the Pentagon and all, right? So these are the couple of achievement and how they have started. Here also you will get couple of more details. Design, SQS launch, AWS launch, right? EBS launch, so everything. The best website which I have shown you, which is this one. Here you can able to get the detailed. Okay, like S3 Glacier service they have launched in August 2012, right? So you can able to check. Redshift they have launched in August 2012, right? So you can able to see all the data. AWS CLI is launched for web developers tool, which is 2012. CloudTrail they have launched in 2013, right? Then they have a Kinesis database they have launched in 2013. So you can able to see all these things. So I put all these links basically. So it is good if you know about these links. Okay. Now, main companies who are using AWS, which is Netflix, Intuit, Coinbase, Finra, Johnson and Johnson, Capital One, Adobe, Airbnb. Like there is a Hitachi, Palo Alto. So like Palo Alto, your URL filtering database is also at AWS only. Cisco is also using the AWS for couple of their services. Okay, so they have a very good customer basis. Okay, guys, I'm audible properly. Just confirm. Prashant, check your internet connection. Okay, or rejoin the meeting because I'm using LAN connection and I have a very high bandwidth connection. So generally, there is no issue with the voice and all. Okay. Okay, now guys, let's try to understand the main thing, which is global infrastructure. You have to know the global infrastructure. So how I will explain the global infrastructure? Let me just go here. Let me close all of them. And you can just type here AWS dot or infrastructure.aws. If you will type this in Google, it will take you to this particular website. Maybe you will go here, or if you will type global infrastructure AWS, you will basically get into this particular website. Now here you can able to see whole detail, means what are the details we are checking. So let me just show you one thing first. Let me use this red color. See, if you will see here on my, this is the AWS console. In this console, if I will click and if I'll go here, it is loading now. And you can able to see we have a one region which is in US, which is North Virginia region. We have a one US East region, which is Ohio. We have a US West region, which is in California. We have a US West, which is Oregon. Means we have one region at North Virginia, Ohio, California, Oregon. Then we in Asia, we have a one AWS region on Mumbai, Osaka, Singapore, Sydney, Tokyo, right? In Canada, they have a Central Canada, right? Frankfurt Island, London, Paris, so they have a regions are like this. Means these are the regions where AWS is available. And these are the couple of other region which are they will basically launch them soon. You can able to see there are 12 regions that are not enabled for this account. Means there are a couple of regions which is not enabled for my account because I'm using the free tier account, which includes the Hyderabad region as well. In India, they have a two regions. One is Mumbai and another one is Hyderabad. So because these are the very new regions, so that is the reason. Maybe they have a limited service over there. Okay. So now, so if we talk about the AWS global infrastructure, what happens? AWS has launched around 33 regions across the globe. And guys, each region has multiple availability zones. What is availability zones? I'm going to discuss in some time. What do you mean by the region? Reason meaning AWS has their data center across the globe around 33 places. And all see one region one region can generally have multiple availability zones. And AWS has total of 15 availability zones, and they have around 600 plus point of presence. And they have a 13 regional cache servers. Okay, what is regional cache? Everything I'm going to cover. So if I'll go here, this is the AWS global infrastructure where you can able to see in India, we have a Mumbai region launched in 2016, which has a 3 availability zone and it has a 2 local zones. Then we have a Hyderabad where we have a 3 availability zone, but it is not having any type of local, right? In Thailand, there is a region which is coming soon. So whatever you will see with the red, Means these are the regions soon they will start. In Singapore, they have one region. In Malaysia, there's a one region which is coming soon. In Auckland also they have launched one region and they will basically launch it soon, right? So this is the global overview of the AWS regions. These are the regions which is available with the green color. With the red color means these are the availability zones which AWS is going to launch in few years. Okay. So like if you will check here, we have a Canada, right? In Canada, we have a Ohio, then we have a see, AWS has launched one more cloud, which is AWS Government Cloud. So right now, whatever if US government wants to deploy any of their resources which is related to the government activities, they will going to use this particular cloud only. And guys, this cloud is not open for normal users or the normal companies. Normal companies will deploy their resources on these particular regions like North Virginia, Canada Central, Ohio, Canada, right? Then Oregon, Northern California. Then AWS, they have a AWS government cloud here as well, right? So then they have a one more region they have launched, right? So across the globe, you can see AWS has launched their regions basically. Now, if you will go here, if I'll go into this region and availability zone tab, if I'll go into this Asia Pacific, in Asia Pacific, you can able to see, I think they don't have a up-to-date database right now. This data is not updated, guys. See, in Asia, they have shown one Mumbai region, but this Hyderabad is missing. So like we have a Mumbai, right? Then this is Thailand. This is for Malaysia. Singapore is up and running. And they have a one in Jakarta. And after that, they have one in Beijing. One is, and they have one here and here, Osaka. So these are the in Tokyo, right? This is how they have presence over the greater Asia. In Middle East, you can able to check, right? So you can able to check the details. So if I'll go into Asia Pacific and I can get the list here as well. All the details of all the regions. Okay. Now, let's try to understand what is AWS. So guys, maybe this particular PPT has old information. Okay. So AWS cloud spans around 105 availability zones within 33. This is the number because when they used to launch, they used to basically update that detail. My PPT is not up to date. So they have a 33, right? 30 geographical regions around the world with around plans for 15. So they are planning around 15 more availability zones and 5 more available regions in the Canada, Germany, Malaysia, New Zealand, and Thailand, right? So these are the couple of plans they are having in future. So what is region? So an AWS region is a named set of AWS resources in a geographic area. For example, the US East region, which is North Virginia region, is called US East 1 region, which is geographical area. Let's take an example for Mumbai. Region is a place where AWS has its infrastructure, means AWS has their data centers. Okay. A region has multiple availability zones or the data centers, or AWS has around 30 to 33 geographic location right now. So just remember one thing, what they used to have, they used to have a AWS region, and inside this region, they have a availability zones. And guys, these availability zones is within the 60 miles. Means one availability zone. Let's say we have availability zone A, then we have a B and we have a C. So these particular three zones have a presence over around within a 60 kilometer or around 60 miles. Okay. Their presence have a presence around between 60 kilometer or within the 60 miles. Okay. Now, These availability zones have a multiple data centers. Maybe availability zone have a 3 data center. Maybe availability zone C have a 2 data center. Like so, all these availability zone they have a more than one data center as well. And all these data centers, what they are having your networking components. They have a different types of networking components. Just remember. So AWS cloud computing resources are hosted into multiple locations worldwide. These locations are composed of AWS regions, availability zones, local zones. Okay. Each AWS region is a separate geographical area. Each region has multiple isolated locations known as availability zones. So means each region has multiple availability zones. Just remember, each AWS region is designed to be isolated from other regions. This design achieves the greatest possible fault tolerance and stability. Now, guys, you can may ask one question: why AWS is launching multiple region across the globe? Why they are not just opening or everything? Why they are not putting all the resources just in one region? Because now anyone can access all the resources from this region, right? Why they are spreading over the globe, across the globe? There are multiple factors which they will consider. The first factor is the bandwidth. Let's take an example. Let's suppose there is our one customer, one company A, and that company is dealing with some of the project which is only for the Indian users. Now, if this company A hosted their web servers over the North Virginia region in USA, then because when these Indian customers they will access this particular web page into the North Virginia region, there is a lots of delay, there is a lots of bandwidth related issues, right? And also there's a one thing bandwidth. The second thing, government policies. See guys, there are lots of countries in Europe where government have lots of strict law. Means if some organization is storing the information of European users, then this information will store into the Europe or European countries area only. Like you cannot run your servers in US, and in US like they will not allow to store that information. So they are the company rules and regulations. So this is the second reason. So bandwidth, then government policies, right? And after that the service. Maybe there are couple of countries where users is basically using couple of services a lot, or maybe there are a couple of companies where there are the few services which is not used by the users a lot, right? So that is also one of the reason, like service. Okay, so these are the reasons. And also the second reason, which is availability. Let's suppose if you will host all your resources over just one single region in North Virginia, and if there is any type of disaster is happening in North Virginia, what will happen? You will lose your entire data, right? So these are the four main factor which is considered by the cloud providers, and accordingly they are basically adding the details. No. In total, we have 33 regions, each with multiple availability zones. Okay. AWS region is a cluster of data center which are located on a separate geographic location. Every AWS region is physically isolated from every other region. Moreover, every region is independent of the location, power, cooling, physical security, etc. from every other regions. Okay. Now, so just remember one more thing, guys. all regions will not offer you all the services. Maybe let's suppose in North Virginia, AWS may be offering 200 services, but let's take an example in Mumbai region. Maybe AWS is only offering 180 services. Means you will not get all the services into one specific region. Just remember. In AWS, regions have names such as like, see, if you have observed the name here, let me just go to into my console. If I'll go here, you can able to see all these regions, they have a name like this, right? North Virginia, which is US East 1, then Ohio US East 2. If you will see, look for the Mumbai, then AP South 1. If you look for Singapore, which is AP Southeast 1, right? So these type of names they have for every region. For Europe, London, they have a like EU hyphen best. For Ireland, they have a EU hyphen best 1, right? So like that, every region have the name. Just remember, okay? They have the names as well, like that. Now, let's try to understand the availability zone. So these are the same information which I have captured. You can see like AWS has a concept of a region, which is a physical location around the world where they cluster the data center, means where they will launch multiple data centers. And all these data center, like in this slide, they have mentioned up to 100 kilometers, which is around 60 miles. And this slide is I have got from the official document, just remember. And guys, all these particular data centers, they have connected with each other with the high speed fiber links, and these fiber links is known as AWS backbone network, just remember. Okay. And if you will see here, we have a one region, and this region has a three availability zone: AZ1, AZ2, and AZ3. And this particular availability zone has two data centers. AZ2 has three data centers, and AZ3 has two data centers again. Okay, so means region is just a one of the geographic location which have a cluster of data centers. Okay. Each AWS region consists of multiple isolated and physically separate availability zones within the geographical area. And these are the names and code for each region, like North Virginia, which is US East 1, Oregon, US Best 2. So whenever you will launch your resources, you can able to get these details. Now let's try to understand the availability zone. So as I have mentioned, we have a region, and each region has a multiple availability zones. And these availability zones have a multiple data centers. And all these data centers, they have a connectivity with the low latency, high speed fiber links. Just remember, okay? So availability zone, like high availability through the multiple availability zones. Each region, there will be at least two availability zones for the fault tolerance, means each region has minimum two availability zone. And if this particular availability zone goes down, we have another one from where we can basically run our resources. Okay, if there is a issue with this region, this particular availability zone, we can run the resources from the third one. So that is the reason they have a multiple availability zone just for the fault tolerance. Okay. And AZ is a combination of one or more data center in a given region. It is a logic grouping of data center in a given region for the service high availability. A data center is a location where actual physical resides or physical device resides. A single of couple of data centers are clubbed into one availability zone. Just remember. If I take example of Ireland, in Ireland region, we have a three availability zones. And guys, see, this Ireland region is your EU West 1. This is the code for region. And after that, it has 3 availability zones. So availability zone will start with 1A, EU West 1A, EU West 1B, and EU West 1C. Let me just show you this part through the console. If I'll go here, let me go into North Virginia. I'm in North Virginia. So I'm just starting my BPC. Let me just go inside the BPC. And in BPC, let's suppose I will create a subnet. I'll select my demo BPC, and now you can able to see, you can give the subnet name, and now you have to select the availability zone. And guys, North Virginia is a very big data center, I can say, for AWS. It has around 6 availability zones: US East 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, and 1F. Okay. In the similar way, if I'll basically change towards the Mumbai region, let me just go with the Mumbai region. Let me just show you the availability zones. So we don't have any type of BPC here. So what I will basically launch one BPC. Let me just launch one BPC. BPC test 01. This is just a testing one, guys. I will define the CIDR. I will use this any default CIDR you can try here. Go to into subnet. Now try to create a subnet, and you can able to see, select your BPC, and if you will browse here, you can able to see your in Mumbai region we have a 3 availability zones. We have a 3 availability zones: AP South 1, AP South 1A, 1B, and 1C. And AP South 1 is the code for Mumbai region. Just remember. Okay. Now, so an availability zone is a distinct location within an AWS region. AGs are designed to be isolated from failure in other availability zones. Availability zone equals to data centers. An AZ consists of one or more data centers. Each data center has redundant power, networking, and connectivity. The data center are housed in separate facilities, and all these data center have a servers. They are placed over the or they are placed in the availability zones or in the data center. So generally when we will run any type of instance, these instance we are going to basically put into these data center, and these data center have a racks and everything. I will go through with that picture as well, don't worry, in some time. So if you will see here, we have a AWS region, then we have availability zone A, availability zone B, and all these availability zone, they have a data centers. Now if you will go here, this is the Broadway. We have a region. Inside region, we have a availability zones. Inside availability zone, we have a data centers. Inside these data centers, we have a networking devices or network infrastructure. And this, on top of this network infrastructure, we used to install our VMs, virtual machines, or our EC2 instance. EC2 instance or VM, both are same thing. EC2 is a terminology of AWS. So if I'll go with the region details in the as per the India, so AWS has 2 data center infrastructure region in India. First one is Mumbai, second one is Hyderabad. So Mumbai they have launched in 2016. Hyderabad one they have just recently launched in 2022. Both regions have 3 availability zones. AWS launch an AWS local zone in New Delhi. And guys, now they have also started one local zone. Just remember what is local zone, I'm going to cover in some time.